Hi, I'm Patrick and I'll be taking you through this bott installation video on how to fit your bott Smartvan self-fit racking. It'll be a step-by-step process walking you through the installation of your configuration. Today it'll be a simple setup tools-wise. It'll be a simple socket set, some hand tools or hex keys, a bit set, and if you prefer, an impact gun. The van we're using today is a Transit Custom L1H1. The principles of this fitment will cover any van on our website. Bott Smartvan self-fit racking uses the manufacturer OEM mounting points. This allows it to be crash safe and tested for your safety. These mounting points are located around the vehicle and we can utilise them using fixings or mounting brackets. You've been waiting for this, and this is the day that your Smartvan product has turned up to your door. This is how it will look, and I'd definitely say you need a friend to help you unpack. This is why you need a friend. Thinking ahead to your installation, it's best to segregate your parts into modules. As bott Smartvan is a modular system, you can work from one frame at a time, working towards the front of the van. At this point, I'm going to start the rear with the rear offside frame. Here is everything for the first module. I personally like to start one module at a time because it allows you to have just the parts you need for what you're doing. With bott Smartvan, it's best to start from the rear of the vehicle moving forward. Now's the time to unwrap. Each module will come with a bracket set. In each bracket set, there are different brackets designed for different locations on your van. It's best to refer to your instruction manual to see where they mount to. Before fixing anything to the van, it's best to talk about fixings. Although there's a lot of fixings here, we try to allow for every application of our products. For this installation, we're going to be using the bott non-slip flooring. You can use OEM flooring, or you can even have no flooring. The Smartvan allows for all these applications. So we're applying these mounting points to the inside here, where there's a mounting hole. On this panel, there's 3 of them. Bott Smartvan uses these fixings all over its racking. They are self-thread cutting fixings. So you might see points like this, where there's not a thread actually applied into the metal. It's just a case of driving the fixing into the needed panel. Voila. This is the best point to reference your brackets in your instruction manual. Each of these mounting points can be used to strap parts into the back of your van using one of our straps. Another way of telling this is the front of the module is by these mounting points here. Each of these is a non-tapped punched hole, allowing you to use one of these. These mounting points are also on the inside, and that's what will allow you to attach your sustainer holder brackets, drawer brackets, any kind of runner kit and shelving. So I've got my brackets roughly in place, these being the rear for a Transit Custom. This particular bracket being the top, and this bracket down here for the bottom corner. This is all according to the Transit Custom instructions, but when you come to your van, they'll all be stated there as well. If we can just look to the van now, there are points here with no thread inserts, but down here there are thread inserts. That's probably where you had your factory mounted anchor points. And that's where these little fellas come in. I'll just do this as an example. So there's no mounting point here. We'll use this bracket at the back to add a captive nut, and then we'll put our bolt through it. With the self-fit racking, we've decided to use elongated holes to allow for adjustment along the vehicle and vertical as well. That's where these fixings come in. They allow you to slide over the top and add a captive thread to the back. For this bracket, we're using 2, which would relate to these 2 mounting points here. As the tolerance on these fixings is quite fine, I like to get a tool in there just to align it into the slot, so you know it's going to fit when you come to fit the bracket. This is for the bottom right. We line the bracket up with the module, and then that gives us a place to put this fixing. As the racking is a modular system, it's best to leave all your brackets and anything you're fitting to the van loose. If you tighten them up early, you might cancel yourself out later on in the build. These brackets are for a Transit Custom, but if you buy a van of a similar size, you'll use the same modules again. So it's just a case of going on the website and buying the brackets for your new van. This will allow you to carry your Smartvan racking along with your whole career, not just one van at a time. So I'm just using that galvanised bracket through the back of the chassis to give a threaded section. So there's multiple mounting locations to these brackets, but personally I like to use these as the datums. So if you're fitting this on here, then you're limiting yourself where you'd go on the module, allowing yourself to choose easier which mounting points to place. For scenarios where you haven't got much room, hand tools are the best approach. For those who don't know, this blue section on each thread is Loctite. So it means you don't have to over tighten or worry about them coming loose. For large brackets like this, it's worth noticing your mounting points and then where it mounts onto the module. For brackets where it's hard to see the mounting points, I'd always use the chassis mounting points to determine where they fit. Once you've fitted the chassis mounting points, this will line up directly with your module, allowing you then to slide in the captive threads, which can go along any point of the module. Right, so that module's all done and we've left it loose to allow for the front module to fit in. We're going to crack on with the offside front module. If you've chosen not to have an offside front module and just two rear modules, say if you've got a crew cab or a smaller van, then this is the point where you can start tightening up your bracket sets. But if you do choose to have an offside front module, this is the point where you'd have to take this panel off here. And that's because these two modules are used to mount each other in place, using these brackets. If you're like me and you're slightly forgetful, you'll have to take this out now. As this van racking is modular, we can use these brackets to mount the two together. This allows the offside front and rear to be used as an anchor point. Using these brackets, we'll slide these particular clips into any point along the module, unless they get in the way of the accessories which you might fit to the rear. And then we'll use this bracket to mount them together. So that will be one continuous module along the side of your van, which adds strength, rigidity, keeps your van together, and allows for more room for tools, fixings. For each bracket set, you get given 3 of these. We'd advise to use all 3. So these brackets come in lots of different shapes and sizes to fit into different areas on the van. For this particular module, it looks like this. It's worth using the bracket as a reference. That way you can see where the bracket will enter the chassis and reveal thread. So this module is the same scenario as the rear module where everything's left loose. And that's because all these 3 modules are linked to the bulkhead module, which is a fixed module. It hasn't got the adjustment in like the rest. So it'll be the same scenario again, putting the bolts into the chassis and the module, leaving them loose. Once you've got the bulkhead in, tighten them all up. So we've almost made that L shape, and the final piece of the puzzle is the bulkhead module. The same scenario again with the anchor points facing out the front. My friend has run away. Within this configuration, we're using each module as a strength point. If you had a bulkhead module by itself, you'd be using each bracket, so I get it the right way around, to go on the bulkhead to fit onto the module. But in this scenario, we're using the offside front as its strength. Like this bracket here, we're going to fit both modules together using this bracket. This allows us to do a right angle to attach the offside front to the bulkhead. All the brackets are supplied in each kit, so there's no need to worry about buying more bits. Right, so that's our skeleton in, the foundation of our racking. Now I'm just going to explain partition bars. So in this particular module, we've got a sustainer and a shelf, each of different lengths. So to fit them within this one module, we're going to use this partition bar. So with the partition bars, we have a fitting kit of 2 sliding captive nuts, the bolts and the washers. So the accessories determine where the partition bar goes on the module. So if you hold this sustainer up here, you can see that it's offset from halfway, and that's where the partition comes in. So at this point, I'm going to show you how to fit the raised deck, which goes across here between the 2 modules. So if you haven't chosen that, you can skip ahead, or if you have, you can watch this segment now. So here we are, we're fitting the deck kit to the van. Just to mention, if you are going to fit a deck kit, you'll need a module either side of the rear, as the deck kit uses these as anchor points. Top tip, this sets the height of the deck. It's a partition allowing you to have ladders or anything on the other side. You don't have to fit it, but it is standard. It's at 250 high. Another top tip is that this might look like a lot of bars, but these are on top of the deck, just to speed things up for you. That's the front, that's the back, that's the center support, and these are the 2 sides. So the modules determine the distance for the deck kit. So it might be a case of loosening off the modules just to allow for the deck kit to sit in between. So to fit your deck kit, you should have 11 mounting points left underneath your cross section. This will line you up with your partition perfectly. So we've got our deck kit in, it's solid, it's mounted to our modules. We've got our cross section in. If you take notice of the return facing you, you got it the right way around the first time. and then we're driving fixings down through the cross sections into partition. Now for the fun bit. Whoa there, don't forget your cushion tape. Here's a little tip, so if you've bought bott boxes in your configuration, why not separate your fixings into them? That's it, we're all tight and the floor's ready to go. Right, we got the decks in, we got the frames in, we got the floor in, now it's time for the fun part. Accessories. Right. So these sustaining runners are handed. If you notice in there's a left hand, and over here, there's a right hand. There's various points to mount them to. This will allow you to choose the depth you require to fit snugly against your van. So here's why I mentioned the left hand and right hand side of the sustainer carriers. At the back there's a strengthen bar. Now it's time to load it up. So just because I've mounted this here, doesn't mean it has to stay there. It can go at any point on the module, this side or that side. The modules we sell on our website allow for potential. There's gaps in between where you can put extra accessories, shelves or sustainers. So that's it, your van's ready for the next working day. Be sure to check out our website for more information.